out of the gates here, we're kind of hitting things like on an acute level, right? So patients are coming in, they have these acute symptoms. These are kind of some of the strategies we would look at. Of course, it's easy for some of these people to move into the chronic realm. I've had a lot of patients that are like, oh yeah, like 3 years ago, I went to this place and I ate this food and I felt really sick for a week or two. And then I started getting better, but I didn't get all the way better. And now this stuff is lingering. And so, of course, for some people, this type of acute scenario, you may get over it, but you may not all the way recover. And why is that? Well, you could get another kind of a parasite infection. You could get H. pylori. There could be a lingering food poisoning, which we see on some of the testing we do. We'll see some of the Shiga toxin, some of the toxigenic E. coli. What is it? The 0OH157H, right? This is the food poisoning type of E. coli that you see in the spinach once a year and such. So we'll see some of these things on testing, and some of these things can cross the acute level into the chronic sphere. And people that have had these experiences, they may not recover all the way. And then that's where we, I think, start to start integrating more stool testing to look at and see what's happening.
Yeah, well said. I mean, there's so many people that say they have Bali belly, right? They go to Bali or they go to Mexico or they go somewhere, they come back and they're never the same. And it's an interesting phenomenon because a lot of times we're just trying to find them at the acute phase, like, okay, binders, whatever. But then if they don't fully recover, or sometimes they'll reach out to us, we never got to help them in the acute phase. They're just coming to us in the chronic phase. Like, hey, I've been sick for 3 years after this Mexico poisoning event. Then that's where we come in with the testings. You mentioned the infections. We'll see salmonella. We'll see giardia. We'll see crypto. If there was like a lake trip where maybe they got some freshwater contamination, or a backpacking trip where they got some parasites, we'll find that on stool tests pretty accurately. Gut inflammation we can measure. So that's where we might do a test for her, just because I do it a couple times a year. But if she gets over this, then I might not rush to do it right away. So it depends on the person, right?
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of Australian patients, and it's funny in that culture. It's because they're so close to Bali. A lot of them will take trips over there. And of course, the Bali, I mean, it's like 1 out of every 2 of my Australian patients, they got sick in Bali. And it's actually a cultural thing. I looked it up, where a lot of them would do this raspberry cordial drink. It was a big thing, and they would bring it with them to Bali, and they would drink it preventatively while they're in Bali to mitigate the Bali belly. And I did a little research on it. Some of the berries that were used to make that drink actually have some anti-parasitic, antibacterial effects. So they're kind of taken, even though it's a sugary, kind of not so great drink, there's still some therapeutic benefits of some of those berries being antimicrobial. And so even people in Australia kind of know, okay, we'll take this raspberry cordial drink and bring it with us to Bali, sip it over the next couple of weeks to prevent a tummy infection.
That's cool. Well, you and I talked about that before. I think we did a whole podcast on like travel supplements, but I mean, that's where the enzymes, oregano oil, silver, those kind of things, binders would come in handy.
Yeah, we did a food poisoning podcast, I think, about 2 years ago. I was at a friend's wedding, and I remember I was in the North End, and I had a nice ribeye steak in the North End, right? Anyone that knows the Boston area, North End's a big Italian area, big restaurant Italian area. Got a nice ribeye steak, and I ate it, and it was just like, it was like someone punched me in the stomach. It was like, whoa, oh my gosh. Like I felt totally like just incredibly, a lot of nausea. And then I brought my GI Clear 4 with me, and I hit that. I remember I had like 2, I had my GI Clear 1 and then some oil of oregano, and I hit that hard. It didn't quite do it. And the next day I hit the GI Clear 4, and within 30 minutes it went away. I couldn't believe it. It was like someone flipped a switch. It's crazy. So sometimes you need synergistic herbs. Sometimes, the golden seal and the high dose berberines and some of the burdock root, it can really, really calm down the gut lining.